Happy Easter, everybody. They call this the big show. I got a kick out of it when I heard about that because I think about of all the different events that happened and everything that when we study and we take this idea or thought into Jesus, which I'm a huge fan of, and he did some pretty amazing things. But as you get into the unity tradition, and that's what we're going to talk about today, you're going to find out that we think maybe, just maybe, there's some things about his life that, well, I'm just going to say we're kind of taken away from us. And that's when unity starts to explore and they really go deeper into his teachings, the realization of what he was really trying to say. Well, I'm not going to tell you that because I'm going to tell you that in about 10 or 15 minutes. But the thing is, this day is about a celebration, and my hope and prayer for today is that we don't forget that, because it can be a tendency to look at it like a really dark week, And I think we forget that no, this is a celebration. This is the time when we celebrate what he really pulled off, because what he really pulled off was pretty fantastic and amazing. So I don't want us today, as we come together in community, and we come together as a group, and we get to create the consciousness of our time together this morning, I don't want us to forget that. And so, as I always tell you, I always say this, but I'm going to say it again. We come together in community and we get to create this experience. So my question for you is, what are we creating today? Are we creating fun? We're creating Easter eggs? We can create Easter eggs. There's nothing wrong with Easter eggs. Easter eggs are great. But are we creating love? Are we creating happiness? Are we creating miracles? Are we creating joy? Are we creating compassion? Because if we all want to do that, we can do that. And for every person in here who's sitting there going, no, that's not me. I really don't do that. Guess what? Yes, you do that because of who and what you are. And so I want you to imagine that we're sitting here we've got this open container right now that's waiting to be filled. So I just want you to think about that. This space right now is being filled energetically by everybody in this room collectively. And so my question for you is, what are you adding to the collective? You have the ability to add whatever you'd like to the collective. So it's Easter. It's a celebration of Jesus. A lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of good stuff that's going on. We can add all of that, or we can add whatever else we want to add to it. But the choice is ours. And I think when I really study Jesus, if I was going to say, there's a couple things he was pretty cool about that he shared with us, but I would say one of the things is that as I've gone deeper into my own metaphysical studies, it's the power of choice that we all have, that for some reason we were told was taken away from us, that we don't have the ability to choose, that we're just kind of stuck on this wheel of life and we just kind of show up and we're stuck in whatever it is that we're stuck in. And that was not in any way, shape, or form what Jesus taught. Jesus said that you're a divine being. Jesus said, whatever I did, you can do too. But there's some things that have to happen in order for those things to start to manifest and unfold in your life. And that's the things that we like to talk about here at Unity, that we're not afraid to talk about at Unity. And yes, it's not an easy story to tell because a lot of people want to stay inside the traditional box. I love the traditional box. I came from the traditional box. It's a traditional box. And as I say, we don't have boxes here. So when you engage in this process that Unity has, what happens is you are accepting full responsibility for your life and everything that shows up in it. Everything. And for some people, that's too much. I can't do that. But if you really want to engage in what Jesus was talking about, that's exactly what he said to do. When he talked about stepping in your divinity, you're not hiding. You are open. You are raw. You are basically showing up as a powerful creator that you are. And when you first do that, I'm telling you, that first step going from here, which is a victim, because that's where a lot of people are stuck. I was there. I think we all are at certain points in our life. But when you take that first step over to here and you start becoming a powerful creator, that's full responsibility for everything that's showing up in your life. And at first, that first step can be horrifying. Are you kidding me? I'm creating this mess? Isn't that what we say? Is he serious about this? I'm totally serious about that. Believe me, believe me, believe me. I've been through the process. That mess that I created called my life, in order for me to change it, I had to be willing to step over here and go, yeah, I accept the fact that I created my reality. Because when you do that, what you don't understand is that you're able to honestly step into your full power, and now you've got the ability to start changing stuff. Well, how do we do that, Mike? Well, we start studying metaphysics and we start using metaphysical properties and principles and tools to then all of a sudden start creating the reality that you want to create. This was not part of my reality 20 years ago at all. But you know what was in my heart? You. I'm serious. This was in my heart because I wanted to hang out with people that were on a spiritual journey, that wanted to wake up, that wanted to step back fully into their power, but I wanted to do it in the community of people that wanted to do it together. And guess what? You showed up. How cool is that? But when you step fully into it, then you're able to share the divinity that's running through you with each other. Because in this journey, guess what? We don't always stand on top of the mountaintop like I talk about. There's sometimes when we're in the valley. So there's sometimes when you're in the mountaintop, there's sometimes when you're in the valley. And when you do it together as a collective, and you've got a little baby like that that's joining in on the conversation, I love that. Thank you, sweetie. It's perfect because then we get to hold each other. Then guess what? You don't always have to be on the mountaintop. Then when you show up and you're having a hard day, you actually can come in here and get a hug and be reminded of who you are. Because I'm telling you, as long as I've got air in these lungs, as long as I'm up here, every single time, I'm going to remind you who you are. And your only choice, your only decision you got to make is, am I going to believe them? That's exactly what Jesus did, folks. He went around telling everybody who they were and then tried to convince them through all of his stories, through all of his life and everything that he did. He tried to remember people and remind people who they are. And what his real message was the same thing that's inside of me is inside of you. The same exact thing. The same thing.